Yeah, let's hope that's not the case. Anyways, this is Das Food. We've watched Das Food's videos on the channel before. Das Food actually commented on one of ours saying that they really enjoyed it, so I really appreciated that from them. So very kind, awesome content creator. Definitely make sure that you give that a like and subscribe, because that is their original content, and that is the way you support the official release of said video, and make sure that they get the support they get the direct support from the video of their original posting. And if you don't know that, you're a big bad jerk and I hate you. So that link is in the chat I just posted. If you're in the YouTube, it'll be down in the description below. Today, Das Food is talking about Dead by Daylight's worst mentality, which there's a lot of really bad mentalities in Dead by Daylight. It doesn't necessarily narrow it down at all. But we'll see which one that they're talking about this time. Part as always, thank you. I appreciate that.
If you've ever debated anything balance related about Dead by Daylight on the internet, you've probably heard the following statement. I don't care. It's not my job to make sure.
This one.
And as is typical of the internet, this statement usually leads to a total devolution of all discourse, and all parties involved resort to ad hominems within a few minutes. In many ways, this statement is like tossing a verbal grenade into what may have previously been a totally civil round of debate. But let's take all emotionality out of the equation for a moment and ask ourselves, is there any truth to the idea that another player's fun isn't your responsibility? Well, if you have more than 2 brain cells to rub together, then I'm hoping that you said yes, there is truth to that.
Yeah.
Because there absolutely is. Your choices in Dead by Daylight.
There's some things. Yo, Cax, thanks so much for the follow, friend. I appreciate that. I don't know why that didn't come through. Yeah, I didn't know why that didn't come through. But I appreciate the follow, friend. Thank you. Hope you've been well, bud. Good to see you again. Yeah, like, I feel like people will get kind of, like, angry and upset over, like, anything and everything, so I can't realistically play in a way that's just fun for everybody. Because your definition of fun may be so weird and invariable that, like, I don't know. Oh my god, progressive. Progressive, homie. Whoa, progressive, homie. Progressive. Homie, thank you so much for the Ray Rudy Chicken Rudy with a whopping 148 people. Holy moly. If you want to hang out and vibe, you're more than welcome to. We're going to continue with the react. These do go up on my YouTube, so if you want to be on up on there as well, you are more than welcome to. But yeah, let's go ahead and keep rolling. Thank you so much for transferring your people again, progressive. It's very kind of you.
Or in any other aspect of life.
The age-old in-game chat saying,
based on what's going to make the maximum number of people happy. While it may seem like a nice idea to try and cause as much happiness as possible, there are 2 major flaws with that line of.
You just can't please everybody. You just can't. You just can't please everybody. You literally just can't. Like, some people will only be happy with me if, like I run into this problem with Billy a lot. If I ever M1 literally at all, suddenly people hate me. Brother, Hillbilly is like low B, high C. He's not a very strong character, despite being one of the most mechanically demanding killers in the video game. I'm gonna M1 sometimes, and you're gonna deal with it. But some people, like, to them, it's like I nuked all the fun out of the game. Like there's no more fun to be had in this match anymore because this guy M1. And it's just not reasonable. And there's so many little rules like that, like little house rules that, like the DBD community tries to uphold that just aren't realistic at all. And that's why you can't care too much about making sure the other side is having fun. Don't care, not at all, perhaps. But, like, also you can't care too much about the other side not having a lot of fun, or you not playing in a fun way, because sometimes, and a lot of times, I will say, in the DBD community, their expectations are completely unrealistic, and you can't help that. You can't help that.
Firstly, there's the issue that you're never going to make everyone happy.
Yep.
You might do a nice thing by purchasing bagels
but, like,
for everyone in the
people will say that too, Progressive. They'll say, like, well, back revving's cheesy. Back revving's cringe. I've heard that before. Oh, you're not going to curve me, you're just going to back rev me? Like, people start nickel and diming you for, like, everything. They start nickel and diming you for, like, literally everything. Like, literally everything. Like, some people you just can't please. Some people just can't be pleased. They'll nitpick you till the cows come home. Okay, so you just gotta play the way you play. You just gotta.
But maybe Peter from accounting hates bagels. Maybe you're a city mayor, and you decide to use resources to fill in potholes on Street A. Well, now residents of Street B, C, and D are angry that you fixed a street they don't care about rather than the one that they use every day. Even if you sit at home all day, interacting with no one, and living as minimally as possible,
this is also a video directed at people pleasers, and I would know because I'm a people pleaser. I try my best. I will be as nice as possible and try to do everything I can to accommodate for friends, strangers, acquaintances. And often the things that go wrong is when you actually, like, you know, try to throw your boundaries up. When you're trying to, like, hey, I'm not cool with this. I'm not cool with ABC. And that's when a lot of people freak out. A lot of people freak out. So, but like, that's normal. It's normal to care about yourself. Take care of yourself. And not worry about all 100% of the masses out there.
Going to be people who dislike you for presumably wasting the only life you have.
Except for all of these things, yeah,
when I say
literally.
that no matter what you do or who you are, there will always be someone who hates your guts.
Yep.
And that's only one issue with the making everyone happy way of living. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, is that you shouldn't have to bend over backwards to make everyone else
Remember me
happy.
as Nemesis today?
Your life is your life, and that's that. Sure, there may be cultural, relational, religious, or otherwise undefined reasons that you want to make others happy.
That's funny.
You may just be a natural-born
Pull me out in the
people-pleaser,
wild. That's
but
hilarious.
At the end of the day, nobody owes you their kindness.
Nope.
To say otherwise would be equivalent to saying that a random person owes you their interest. In the same manner that they might perceive you as boring, they might also just not want to be nice to you, and they're within their rights to feel that way. With this in mind, there is absolutely no reason in day-to-day life.
Yeah, I made a video about this a long time ago. I made a video about this a long time ago. It was like putting trust in strangers, because that's essentially what this is. Like, when you're asking somebody, you're like, this person better not play boring. This person better not play like this. You're putting trust in a complete stranger. The game isn't small anymore. You don't run into the same people very often. That's putting trust in a stranger. You wouldn't do that to somebody like on the street. Like if I had, like, say I'm walking my dog or something, and I'm like, okay, I gotta like go use the restroom or something. I wouldn't just hand a random stranger on the street my dog. You know, I wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. You would just be like, hey, watch my pet that I care about more than anything. I'm gonna go away for a second. Like I wouldn't trust a random stranger with like one of the most important like you know, not people, but like, you know, parts of my life. I wouldn't just hand them off, you know. I would you know, treat that a little bit more carefully. But like you're essentially expecting the same thing. Oh, Minova. You're a sub with Prime Gaming. I appreciate that for the whole year. 12 months. Double you. Thank you so much for that, friend. Since the last time you've been here, I'm pretty sure we've had new emotes since the last time you've been here, so those are the new ones. Nightbot's not subbed right now, but I'll handle that at a different time. But yeah, that's essentially what you're doing, is you're just putting a lot of trust in a complete stranger on the side of the street to just like play and act a certain way. And it's just like, it's just so weird. Like, you wouldn't do that in real life, so why are you doing it in a game? It's just bizarre.
To constantly stress about how others perceive you. Identify your values
Yep.
and pursue them.
That's
so
people
that you might
pleasing.
become a virtuous person.
Yeah.
While this approach certainly can and will manifest.
And you will lose a lot of people doing this. This is real life talk right here. This is DBD talk. This is real life talk. When you stop trying to please everybody, and you flex up and you say, I'm about ABC, and this is what I'm about in my life, you're going to lose a lot of people. And that's just going to happen, because people aren't going to be ready for you to have boundaries and to have virtues, because they're used to you being so agreeable. So there's going to be friction there. But I'm going to tell you this as somebody who's been through this more than once in their life. The people that treat you putting up boundaries and establishing values as a threat, as something that is a problem, those aren't the people you want in your life. There are people that will be supportive of you and be happy for you that you're establishing values and establishing boundaries. People will be like, heck yeah, I'm so proud of you. The people that take issue with it, those are red flags, brother. Those aren't your friends. Those aren't your friends. Those aren't your loved ones. That's not your romantic partner. That's not a family member. Real people that love you don't do that. So, yeah, a little bit of life advice in the middle of our DBD video about, you know, fringe people. Life advice, very important. So people watch? Yeah. Hey, Tailbase, how's it going? There you go, me.
In big picture decisions, it should also play out in smaller, less obvious interactions. Wear the clothing you like. Listen to music you enjoy.
Yeah.
Pursue the hobbies that interest you. And work
Dude
to
gets
become the best human you can be.
Yeah.
So, case
Tell 'em.
closed, right? Food is telling you that you're entirely free from having to care about the experiences of other players in Dead by Daylight.
That's a smart cookie.
Right?
That's a smart human right there.
No, not exactly.
Not
While
fully,
I hate
but,
to
you
make
know.
something as simple as DBD etiquette seem larger
Mostly.
than it is, I posit that what we're talking about when we have this discussion is less about whether or not you should cater to the whims of others, and more about a questioning of each player's integrity. While the developers have tried to coerce certain behaviors from the community with features such as chat filters, which are garbage, and easy report functionality, which does nothing, the true measure of a player's integrity is not what they do in the shadow of the ban hammer, but what they do when they feel safe to be who they really are.
Yep,
And
with
it is
the
their-
anonymous mode. Usually anonymous mode people play like the worst, meanest people you could ever imagine, and they're just awful in the after chat. Like, I know anonymous mode was made to like help like, you know, content creators, but there's so many people that specifically use the anonymous mode to be just like the most vile, horrible people that I have seen in this game. Anonymous mode is, whew, the biggest stinkers that I run into this game are non-gamers.
In that moment of reveling in one's true self that their integrity or lack thereof begins to be relevant. Dead by Daylight is a game with far more unwritten rules than legitimate ones, and how a person interacts with the unwritten rules goes considerably further in illuminating who they really are. Of course, unwritten rules aren't consistent across all players, so no matter what you do, you will violate these rules, and you will do so frequently. In my many years of playing Dead by Daylight, I've come across some hilariously stupid unwritten rules. I'd like to list some out for you, and just note that while it may seem like I'm being hyperbolic for the sake of comedy, I promise you that I have witnessed all of these, whether it's on Twitter, Reddit, or
it probably
most
won't surprise
commonly
me.
in my own games. So, here
Probably
are
won't
some
surprise me.
rules to follow if you're dedicated to making everyone happy. Never play Doctor. His static blasts
Never play Doctor.
disorients some players. Never play Hag.
That's an accessibility issue, though. That's an accessibility issue. That's on behavior.
Her phantasm traps can induce anxiety. Never play Legion. Their power is BS and mending is stupid. Never use iridescent add-ons. They're too strong, all of them. Never
All of
use
them.
other powerful add-ons. They're not fun to play against, and good killers shouldn't need them. Never play as one of the original 4 survivors. Only toxic or baby players use those characters.
Okay, you proved me wrong. What? I have never heard that one. Wait. Okay, you proved me wrong there. Huh? You've heard that. I've never heard that. These are things that he's heard people say, Nova. These aren't things he seriously thinks. Got told that I was bad for the community? You're not bad for the community. You're not bad for the community at all. If anything, you're healthy for the community. We need more people like you. Yeah, like, Dwight and Claudette, like, that makes you toxic to play the original 4 survivors? Available to everyone for free. Okay, buddy.
Never face camp under any circumstance.
Any.
Never hook the same survivor consecutively for any reason.
This one gets me in trouble all the time. Remember, we had a trickster game the other day where the people literally came into chat and said GGs and were nice, and then we go into the after chat and they're flaming me for tunneling. And I was like, brother, I don't even remember tunneling. There was like a situation where I had like a 3-man slug during that game. Apparently, after that 3-man slug, I ended up on the same guy, and I back-to-back hooked him. And he was like, wow, tunneling doesn't make the game fun. That was like the only time I tunneled the entire game, too, on top of that. And I was like, brother, I literally wasn't paying attention. They're like, yeah, well, it doesn't make the game very fun when you do that. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I literally didn't realize. I literally was just on a slugging spree. I was just gaming. I didn't realize I ended up on the same person who I had hooked, who I hadn't. It was not on purpose. And it wasn't even like a 3-hook tunnel. It was literally just the one guy back-to-back. Once. Literally once. Literally once. That's all. So I just rip off my... as I just take off the filter. Yeah, like it was literally once. It was literally once, and that was it. That's all. And I got blamed by everybody except the Globe Gamer. It was all 3 of the people that could talk blaming me. That's ridiculous. Like, it's just like so ridiculous. They got so upset about it. It's like, brother, if that upsets you that badly, you got issues outside DBD that you need to work on, man. You really do. You really do. Okay, they're very mad about it. Yeah, they're allowed to put pressure on you, but you're not allowed to put pressure on them. That's illegal. That's illegal. That's a whole other conversation about how people don't understand what quote unquote applies pressure in Dead by Daylight.
Never play nurse. She's too powerful.
Never play nurse.
Never use brand new parts. Never
Maybe
bring
Zeus sucks,
flashlights.
but yeah.
Never bring strong medkits. Never use 4 meta perks in the same build. Never slug for any reason. Never
Hear
play
that one a lot.
clown. His bottles give certain players headaches.
That's accessibility
Never
issue, though,
bring
on
map
players.
offerings. Don't take too long to ready up. Don't play one side if you main the other side. Don't play Bubba for obvious reasons. Don't play in a Swift. Don't use strong loops. I already said you shouldn't run meta perks, but ironically, there are also survivors that will tell you not to run non-meta perks if you're going to be on their team.
Yep.
And look, the list goes on. If you'd like, I made satirical videos a while back about the rulebooks for each side, if you want to go check those out. The point, as it is relevant to our discussion today, is that no matter what you do or how you play, you're going to catch
Cannibalism.
hell
Yeah,
for
that's why.
it
That's the
eventually.
obvious reason.
And
Yep.
when you do,
You nailed
it's
it.
a totally reasonable response to just shrug and say, screw the other side, I'm not here for them. And really, in those moments, that's fair. Play as the character you want to play as, using the perks and add-ons that you want to use, and burning whichever offerings you want to burn. And when you inevitably receive salt for something totally innocuous, I think you're well within your rights to laugh at that person getting upset because
Should
you
have used
dared to
DS?
play in
That's
a
so
way
dumb.
that doesn't fit their narrowly
That's so
constructed
stupid.
view of what Dead by Daylight is supposed to look like. These people are clowns. And
Hey,
if nobody calls them
tell 'em.
out on it, they risk getting a
Tell
little
'em.
too big for their britches.
Tell 'em.
But as always, there are 2 sides to every story, and I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. The vast majority of people who use the "your fun isn't my problem" approach tend to be insufferable assholes.
Yes,
I know,
also
I know.
true.
I just spent an entire video talking about not only how you shouldn't obsess over what others think, but
Like most things in life, it's with moderation and compromise, right? I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's weird if it's not, trying to play both sides. Like most things in life, the truth lies within compromise and moderation, right? Should I play to everybody's rulebook? No. But also maybe not play in the most miserable way possible, like say making a game 32 minutes long when the average match time is around 10 minutes. You know? Maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's some moderation you could implement there. That's fine.
stating that it was in fact virtuous to act on your own desires. While that's certainly true to an extent, I think now is a good time to remind you that regardless of your own personal morality, most people alive today agree that it's wrong to be purposefully spiteful to people for no reason.
Yep.
So, while there's nothing wrong with tunneling, camping, slugging, teabagging, clicking your flashlight, or general bad manners on a moral level, to do these things consistently certainly highlights a certain lack of kindness or empathy in a given player. You're free to play as nastily as you'd like, sure. But it's also good to remember that you're—
This is something that people bring up a lot when we're talking about like the whole, like people talk about cancel culture conversation. Not to make this a bigger, we've already talked about big life things in this video, so I guess this is the second thing. Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence. Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence. That freedom of consequence is not guaranteed to you. It's not. You can say whatever you want, but if you walk into a town of people, let's say you live in a town of people that are like everybody is Catholic, right? Like you specifically live in a town that is almost completely Catholic. Like everybody goes to church, you know everyone, and it's a small town. And you walk down the street, and in the middle of broad daylight, saying like F the Lord, F his son, like you say all this stuff, you're probably gonna get ostracized from your town, right? Everybody's gonna treat you poorly after that point. People are gonna probably not want to serve you at their businesses. Like, you're probably not going to be welcome there anymore. You had the freedom of speech to say, hey, I'm gonna go into this very religious small town that I've lived in my whole life and just like curse out the primary figures of their religion. They're probably not gonna react well. You're not protected from them reacting to you poorly and not socially including you anymore. You're not protected from that. Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence. They can react to you however they want. They really can. And that's like the same thing here. It's like, just you can do whatever you want. You could be the worst, nastiest person you want to be. That's not freedom of consequence. It's really not.
You're not a brutal serial killer serving the will of an eldritch deity. You're also not a scrappy survivor fighting hard against an unfeeling monster so that you might live to see another day. All you are when you play Dead by Daylight is a person sitting in front of a screen and playing a video game. Nothing more, nothing less. So to lose yourself in this unending spiral of spite and power tripping, honestly, it's just more sad than anything else. Like all video games, Dead by Daylight is meant to be fun. Anybody who tells you otherwise has completely lost the plot.
Yep.
I don't care if it's Pong, Super Mario 64,
Hey,
or
oh my God.
the Drake and Josh game for Game Boy Advance, which
What?
was, by the way, developed by some company called Behavior Interactive, in case you're
I
curious.
didn't know that.
Video games are
That's
meant
funny.
to be fun, and while I certainly agree that you don't have to provide others with fun in a multiplayer game, you also shouldn't go out of your way to make sure they're having a bad time either. And that's where the crux of the issue with the quote, "your fun isn't my job" mentality starts to become clear. While it's entirely possible that somebody could say this after receiving undue criticism, in my anecdotal experience, that's not often the case. If a player is criticized for their choice of character, the response is often, "oh, well, I can play whoever I want." If they're criticized for their build, they can always break out the "oh, reliable, get good." But when a player uses the quote about whether or not fun is their job, this is often in regards to how nastily they played the game. And that's not surprising. While the statement is technically true, it's also undeniably snide.
Yeah, it's like addressing the elephant in the room, right? Like they're hiding under the blanket of like, well, I am free to play however I want, and kind of using it to avoid the elephant in the room of like doing something exceptionally nasty or egregiously, irritating, right? They're using it as a cover. They're using it as a cover, essentially.
Player catching flack for playing as Legion simply isn't going to turn to such incendiary phrasing as their first line of defense. As I said earlier, this phrase is
Also
something
true,
of a verbal
can't
hand
take what they
grenade
dish.
at the current moment, and last I checked, you don't use grenades to deal with minor inconveniences.
Yep.
If you do, please let me know so I can get clear of the premises before you take care of that roach you just saw in your kitchen. The last thing I want to touch on in regard to today's topic is the general health and upkeep of the DBD community.
DBD.
Despite its reputation, I don't actually think Dead by Daylight's community is nearly as toxic as it's made out to be.
Yep.
Sure, DBD Twitter is an absolute hellhole filled with destructive criticism, toxic positivity, hypersexualization, and more cancellation attempts than should be humanly possible, but that's Twitter. All of society's worst people congregate on Twitter, most especially me. It's the most Isley of our world. In-game, though, out in the fog, things aren't as bad as they seem. I maintain that most people, remember that I said most people, play the game just to have a good time. And while the game undeniably has an entitlement problem where players get upset when the other side plays as intended, I still don't think things are that bad. That said, the more people that take the "your fun isn't my job" approach, the more the game will suffer. As ridiculous as the unwritten rulebooks have grown to be, they initially existed for a very good reason. Game balance is insanely difficult.
Yeah, when I release, case in point, I brought this up in a previous video. When I release the match reviews, nobody cares. Not nobody cares. I think that's an exaggeration. But when I release the match reviews, those get like half the views of my other videos. Because that's positive. That's constructive. You know what always does twice the views? Me complaining about something. When I release views complaining about something, big or small, that's always what does the numbers. When I do the match reviews, people don't tune in. Like half of my viewer base goes away. I'm telling you, man. People love that negativity. And it's baked into the community. Deep into the community, it's baked in. Deep in there.
And that struggle is amplified 10 times over when applied to an asymmetrical experience. DBD may be at its most balanced state of all time, arguably.
Yeah, they're
but
looking for
there
affirmation.
will always be bugs,
Looking for
exploits,
affirmation.
and general imbalances that possess the ability to sap the fun.
Like loneliness loves company, right? Like they want other people to feel lonely with them. Misery loves company, you know, that old saying. It's literally that all over. It's that all over, you know. It's like they want to feel miserable together. Feeling miserable is kind of a lonely thing. No, there's a lot to actually realistically be upset about in the game, and it's good to have people verify that. But a lot of people, you know, are also just negative Nancy's and upset, and they want other people that just, you know, also embody themselves as being negative Nancy's to be negative together and feel like they're at home. So,
Out of one side's playtime. If we love this game and want it to get better and not worse, we should consider the other side to a reasonable degree. No, this doesn't mean you always have to give the last survivor hatch or let the killer get at least one sacrifice just to
I got told that this week. I didn't give somebody hatch even though it was like near me, and that was toxic. I was like, okay. I give hatch frequently, like just one match I didn't, I'm just, okay, whatever.
Nice. It does, I think, mean that when you realize you're facing a brand new baby killer, maybe it's not the time to head on flashbang and generally make that killer's life miserable. A pinch of kindness goes a long way, and while the line between goofing off and actively bullying can be vague, I think most people know it when they see it. Part of the solution to what we're talking about here is holding both yourself and your friends accountable. When friends go off on some stupid rant about how the killer is an asshole because they're camping, be the voice of reason and try to offer why they might be doing that.
Yeah, this is another big thing. This is a huge thing. It's like you'll be in a Swift together, or a Swift call with somebody, and somebody's piping off, and they just kind of let it happen. Yeah, they just kind of like chill. And they're just like, yeah, whatever. Let them pipe off. Even if you don't agree with them, you just kind of let them go, right? It's like what I was talking about earlier, right? I was talking about earlier about like setting your boundaries and determining your values. They're afraid because that person's probably not going to take kindly to you going, like, disagreeing with you. If you're raging over something, they're probably not going to take kindly to them disagreeing with you if you're the one out here raging. And that's going to lead to a dent in the friendship, and that's awkward. It's like they're using that like kind of like emotional barrier there to uphold these things. When in reality, you know, you should just probably just say something, right? Probably just should.
Is your team punishing the killer for camping by doing gens, or are you guys bum rushing the hook and ending the game early? Is it the in-game collapse, a time when killers absolutely should camp? The same line of logic applies for playing killer as well, though that's more about holding yourself responsible because it's a solo role. So, to summarize all that's been said in this video, no, the fun of others is not your job.
Nope.
But yes, you should generally care enough to treat others with a smidge of kindness. Ultimately, you can be a power-tripping asshole all you'd like, and nobody's gonna stop you.
Sure.
But if you do that, and I am dead serious about this, if you are one of these people who says, oh, well, your fun isn't my job, then I don't want to hear a single complaint out of you regarding anything from the other side.
Yeah, it's what Red was talking about earlier. It's like a lot of the people that say my fun's not my problem will go against like a 4-man Swift and get bodied and cry the hardest. Cry the hardest. Same thing on the Survivor side. They're just like a 4-man Swift that's super cocky. They'll get bodied by a good killer, and they'll be like, "You were such a camper. You were such a tunneler," or whatever they had to do to beat the 4-man Swift. And it's like, you can't take what you dish out. Those are the ones that usually cry the loudest when something goes wrong. It's those people that whip out the, oh, and my fun's not your problem. Those are the ones that usually crumble the quickest when they meet somebody who plays just as mean and nasty as they do. They're the ones that usually crumble the quickest.
Not about a perk that seems busted, an exploit that's being abused, or a playstyle that you think is toxic. Sure, it's not cool that they're playing like that, but hey, your fun isn't their job. And that's gonna do it for us today, foodies. I hope you had a good time. I hope that maybe this one got you thinking. I hope that maybe we can go out and treat people with some kindness going forward. Either way, I hope you are having a lovely day wherever you are. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you stay tuned for the next one. Which
yeah, and I can get along with somebody who knows what they're doing, right? Progressive. Like if somebody brings like a really, really nasty build, and they're just like, hey, yeah, that was a really nasty build, I can get along with that person. It's the person that says something like that, where it's like, oh, your fun's not my problem. People who like aren't self-aware or are choosing not to be. Those are the people I can't get along with. Yeah, with this, it's just like it like I said in the middle of the video, it's like, it really is about moderation, right? Do you need to subscribe to every rulebook and little rule you hear from every survivor? No, definitely not. But I think playing as nasty and as intense and being cruel in the after chat, like, I feel like that's also an extreme. Like, none of the extremes in this situation make sense. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Is like, extremes are extreme. That's why we call them extreme. They're not something that are casual. It's not something that's understandable. They are extremes. So if you're playing to one extreme, which is I have to follow every rule book and do everything by the books to not upset anybody, you're probably going to stress yourself out. You're probably going to stress yourself out trying to do that because it's impossible to uphold that. And B, you're probably gonna have people still yell at you. Somebody's gonna find something, some flaw in your gameplay that they're gonna get mad about. So you're not gonna have a good time. But also, don't be that guy. Don't be the antagonist out here. Like out here trying to be like somebody brought up, like a person that decides to slug all 4 people and just let them bleed out for the 4 full minutes, even though they're not like comp cornering or anything or running boil over. You're just doing it to be a jerk. Don't be that guy either. Don't be that guy either. Be someone in the middle. Be someone in the middle. Kind of, you know, generally don't do nasty stuff like that, but also don't try to adhere to all these roadblocks because you're quite, I mean, from a realism perspective, you can't, realistically, you kind of can't do that. Realistically, you can't do it. So don't do either of these extremes and find a place in the middle. Find a place in the middle where you can act and be. And I feel like your life will be way, way, way easier in Dead by Daylight. No, you're totally fine. Final exams are stressful. You don't have to apologize for that. You never have to apologize for stuff like that. It's bleed out every single time we play. Like, don't be that guy. Why are you out here wasting somebody's time for 4 minutes? You know they don't... It's not like the Hook where they can give up if they're being, like, face camped, right? Like, there's no way to get out of that situation besides eating the DC penalty, which means sitting there for 4 full minutes on the ground, literally doing nothing. Literally doing nothing. That's needlessly cruel for, like, no reason. You're making that person have a bad time on purpose. It's not to win. It's needlessly so. There is no victory there. It's just kind of like, well, their victory is somebody dies, but like it's not efficient. They're not doing the efficient thing by bleeding out on the ground for 4 minutes. They're doing it to waste your time and to be mean to you. Yeah, like I said, what you should do in this situation is find some moderation. Find somewhere a cozy middle ground where you can do both, where you can listen to some things that, you know, make sense, like maybe not bleed somebody out for their full 4 minute timer, when realistically you can just hook them on the hook that's right next to them. But also, you know, don't listen to like, hey, if you're Billy, you can never M1 ever. Like, don't listen to ridiculous stuff like that either. There's a common ground you can find, and you should stay at that common ground. You really should.